The first extinction that we know of happened around 440 million years ago. This was the Ordovician-Silurian extinction. 60 to 70% of these small marine organisms consisting of Ankyrochatina, small plankton-like creatures, went extinct. This was caused by an increase in metal, lead, arsenic, and iron in the seas. I would bet that the first extinction you've ever heard of was dinosaurs in the Ice Age. This is because these small creatures have very little to no meaning or connection to society today. But what if I told you that animals that have been alive before and during the 2000s are going extinct or already are extinct? And what if I told you that society right now is in the midst of its very own sixth extinction? The Sixth Extinction was written by Elizabeth Kolbert and published in 2014. It is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize because of its brutal realism. Kolbert doesn't shy away from the truth. She uses this technique, research, and professional opinions to take a normal nonfiction book about extinction and dinosaurs and develop it into an intriguing book about the past species that have gone extinct, organisms that are going extinct, and the impact that humans have had on the earth and the things living on it. The thesis is mainly focused on the changes that the world has gone through since we've lived on it. Her purpose is to emphasize that there is a major problem and absolutely no solution, and no one is really seeing the reality of it all. The author Elizabeth Kolbert is an American journalist from the New York Times. She is also a member of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists Science and Security Board. Kolbert also received the Sam Rose and Julie Walters Prize for Global Environmentalism Activism and 2 National Magazine Awards. She has written multiple other books and many essays, one entitled Greenland is Melting. This book had many strong and weak points. A few of its strong points were evidence, organization, and moral. Every chapter consisted of a living thing that has gone extinct or is in the midst of an extinction. There was an abundant amount of evidence for each chapter. Kolbert found scientists and researchers and even had photographs of each species. There was no doubting the credibility of this book. This book also had incredible organization throughout it. Every species mentioned had their own chapter, it had a picture and a thorough explanation. Finally, the Sixth Extinction had an amazing purpose to it. The moral of this book was that if we want to solve the problem of extinction, we can't just sit by and watch it happen, or even worse, ignore it. All countries need to work together to find a solution before it's too late. Its major weak point to it was the plot and the fact that there really isn't much of one. There isn't enough focus on her point that we are in an extinction right now. The Sixth Extinction is the title of the book, and I don't feel that it really lived up to my expectations. Kolbert began the Sixth Extinction with the brief history of extinction and a species called the golden frog. The golden frog originated in Panama and is now endangered. This species used to be populous, and Kolbert writes about how she spoke with a researcher in Panama who said that it was almost impossible to walk anywhere near the golden frog habitat without stepping on one. This species is now endangered because of a fungus that is traveling through Central America that was introduced by humans. This chapter particularly stood out to me because of most of the time we hear about species that are already extinct and ones that we never even had the chance to see. Example, dinosaurs. This has no emotional impact on us whatsoever. These frogs have existed our whole lives, and we are witness to their extinction. Kolbert wrote about this particular species for this very reason, and it strengthens her argument that we are all in the midst of a sixth extinction. The Sixth Extinction's lasting impact on me was the overwhelming thought of, geez. It kind of just left me with a need for a solution. Every time I have a problem, there's always a solution, but after reading this book, I realized that there's no solution for climate change or extinction overall. It is going to take all of the countries in the world working together and agreeing on a solution, and that probably won't ever happen. This book was an eye-opener for me. Our world has dug a great big grave for ourselves, and we just keep digging. This has made me think of all the things that I do on a daily basis that is just contributing to the problem. Maybe using too much water to brush my teeth in the morning, driving my car, using hair products that contain chemicals that are polluting the air around me, and using plastic bags for lunch instead of just a container. I myself need to stop or lessen these things, and so does our entire population. A non-fiction book entitled Countdown, Our Last Best Hope for a Future on Earth by Alan Wiseman is about not necessarily extinction, but more about humanity's future without unnecessary change. The Sixth Extinction, Countdown, and books like these are amazing examples of nonfiction literature. They all have in common a message to society about the future. What these books lack that the Sixth Extinction has is harsh fact and realism. Colbert writes The Sixth Extinction with the purpose of making her audience read the truth. Books like Countdown are great in getting their point across, but Colbert's style of writing, diction, and her purpose throughout the book is the reason that this book, The Sixth Extinction, won a Pulitzer Prize. The Sixth Extinction is by far the best nonfiction book that I've ever read. It's not every day that you read a book that makes you question humanity, especially if it's nonfiction. Colbert's tone throughout the book put my mind in the right place. It made me really feel for the animals mentioned in the book, and after reading every chapter, I became concerned for our future. Everyone would benefit from reading this book, whether they believe that climate change is happening or they don't even believe extinction is real. If you are especially interested in endangered animals, the history of extinction, science, humanity, or simply that you care about the world, I would recommend this book to you. It's books like this one that change perspectives, and The Sixth Extinction definitely changed mine.